1. It's August 17th, 2018.
And this is Nerd Bourbon episode 63. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Hello, Todd.
I'm still laughing about that.
About what?
Just as I'm like starting, I'm doing the countdown here. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, I pick up my mug of tea here, and I go to take a sip from it, and I'm like mid-sip, and Todd's just like, 3, 2, I'm like, oh fuck.
It's funny. It's like I'm like looking at you. I have like the camera up and shit. But I was like, I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, I've got a like sore throat and a little bit of congestion, so I do apologize in advance for the sickly sounds you're gonna hear during the course of this podcast. I'll do my best to edit them out. But Todd, before we started recording, we were talking about an exciting little bit of news that was leaked out yesterday. That we were just kind of like, you know what, fuck it, let's just save it for the podcast.
Yeah.
So Forbes leaked out yesterday I guess a day early. Evidently, the official reveal is coming today, probably with a trailer. But they revealed that Diablo 3 is indeed coming to Switch. Let me just say right now, hashtag Seth was right. I predicted that was going to be an E3 reveal. It was not, but I did say I did say at the end, I was like, I do think that all of this is going to end up happening, just not at this particular conference, because I don't think E3 matters as much as it once did. So Diablo 3 is coming. It sounds like it's coming this year. And the Switch version is, it's called the Diablo 3 Eternal Collection. And it's going to come with not only, the base game, not only Reaper of Souls, not only the Necromancer expansion, but it's also going to come with some Legend of Zelda themed items.
This is actually something I just thought about. Is it going to legitimately have everything that the PS4 version and whatnot did?
In terms of content, yeah, it sounds
so
like
that means that we might have those like the Overwatch wings, like the Mercy wings.
Maybe what I'm curious about is I wonder if it's going to work in the same way that the PS4 version did. And what I mean by that is, are they going to have you log into your Blizzard account and pull up essentially like your old, like your data, like your Mercy wings and your stuff like that. So
It would be fantastic if I could like transfer my character over.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Although part of me is kind of hoping that I can't.
So you can legit just redo everything.
So I can just start fresh and just actually make a new character, because
I am
absolutely getting this.
I feel like it'd be so good if I can get like my main, like my fucking Crusader on the Switch, and that'd be honestly, as we were saying, is like the Switch is kind of perfect for.
The Switch is Diablo is a perfect Switch game. I mean, most games are, but Diablo in particular is such a great.
Every game's perfect on the Switch.
I mean, honestly, there are very few games where I'm like, I cannot see myself wanting to play this on the go on the Switch. But Diablo is just, I mean, could you imagine like plane rides, road trips, and just being able to just pull out Diablo 3?
Oh yeah. That's fantastic. Again, the amount of hours I put into that game, I don't even know what you did, but
I think on the console version of Diablo 3, if I had to guess, I probably literally put like over 500 hours into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got some Zelda-themed items coming into it, to the Switch version. It's got some Ganondorf-themed armor from his design from Ocarina of Time. It's got a Cucco pet, which I think that's how you pronounce. Is that how you pronounce Cucco?
I always thought it was Cucco, but
Cucco? I always thought it was Cucco. I don't know. I mean, maybe, who knows? I mean, they've never... since Breath of the Wild has voice acting, I wonder if there's ever a official pronunciation of Cucco. That'd be something to look into. It's got that. It's got a Triforce, I guess, portrait plate. And it's got these wings that I guess are based off of Majora's Mask. So
yeah, Echoes of the Mask is what it's called.
It's interesting. I mean, it's not, it's all just cosmetic stuff, but it's still pretty
It's
cool.
good cosmetic shit. Like
It's
I
nice
would
to have
totally rock
exclusives.
that Ganon armor, except like obviously the helmet because I don't want to look like him.
Yeah, the helmet is just basically his face.
Yeah, I'm like I'll pass on that.
Cool bit of news. Again, I saw it coming. I do think, I do think Overwatch is next. Um, the prospects of Overwatch on Switch excite me greatly, because I want to know if they're going to do some sort of like Nintendo themed Overwatch skins.
Ooh,
Because if they have some exclusive Nintendo themed Overwatch skins, like I was just telling you, I don't think I would double dip for Overwatch,
but I
but
feel like you would double dip for that.
they would get me with the skins. They would get me with the fucking
See,
skins.
I think we've talked about that so much on like the podcast is like the amount of money that we've spent on the skins on the game that we barely play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I guess the official reveal is coming today, as of the time of this recording. It'll probably be officially revealed by the time you guys are listening to this. But yeah, that was an early leak from Forbes yesterday. So cool news. I'm looking forward to playing it on Switch. That's a game that I like have spent so much time with, and I'm actually just kind of looking forward to. Like I said, I kind of hope that I can't play with my same characters because I part of me kind of wants to just dive in with a fresh character and just
Yeah.
like fuck around with it, you know? I don't even know what class I'll play, honestly.
The thing is, like, me and you have played them all, so
Yeah, I've played every class. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know who I'd go for on Switch. I
because
don't
like
know. Maybe
your
class.
Demon Hunter's your go-to, and I think on
Yeah, on
PS4.
console it is. Yeah, on
Yeah.
PS4. Yeah, it definitely is. Um, I wanted to talk about before we get into what we've been playing, before we get into our topics and stuff like that. I want to get into I want to get into a piece of news that has been making the rounds, and uh, it's something that I think has it's been covered to death over the past week, but or over the past few days, but it's something that I think is interesting and kind of needs to be talked about. Um, so I'm sure you've at least heard of the stuff that's been happening with IGN over the past few days.
Yes, I have the whole plagiarism thing.
Hmm.
I know, like, I think there's been like updates on the story for the most part, but like I
Yes.
do know the like majority of the information.
Yeah. So the gist of what happened. So one of their writers, Philip Miucin, he posted a Dead Cells review like about a week ago now, I guess, and a small, not small, but like relatively small YouTube channel
Which he
called
probably got
Boomstick
well
Gaming.
with this. He probably got a little more attention.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
hey,
I
props
think
to
I
him.
think the video where he points out the plagiarism has like over 1 million views now.
Well, yeah, because it like went viral on like Reddit.
Yeah. So it's this guy called Boomstick Gaming, and he did a review of Dead Cells like back in like July. Like he was basically reviewing the early access version of the game, kind of just before, just ahead of the official launch. And Philip Mewson, when he published the IGN review, like this dude, Boomstick Gaming, notices that the review sounds strikingly similar to his own.
Yeah,
So he starts to go through the review and realizes that, oh, it's not just strikingly similar, it's like very similar. And to the point where he has copied, Philip Mewson of IGN copied some of the stuff word for word from
mm-hmm.
Boomstick Gaming's review.
And a lot of it is just like just little random like changes.
Well, it's like slight changes, but also the real important thing for me is like the fact that the structure is the
Oh
same.
yeah, yeah.
Like he mentioned things in his review at the same point that Boomstick Gaming
Mm-hmm.
mentions them. And like the chances of that happening, like if you have similar ideas about an aspect of the game or you have phraseology that is the same, okay, like maybe you can get away with saying that that was an accident, but to articulate your thoughts at the same time of the review as somebody else, the chances of that happening are pretty much astronomical.
Yeah.
So this guy plagiarized from the smaller YouTube channel, no doubt about it. And if you watch Boomstick Gaming's video, which I'll link to in the description, um, you'll see that it's pretty much night and day. It's cut and dry. It's an open and shut case.
Oh, dude, it gets worse.
Oh, it gets way worse.
Oh, dude, like,
No.
like his dumbass like went on and like made like an apology video.
It was not an apology
It wasn't an
video.
apology. It was like the worst apology video of all time.
No,
And
he never apologized.
yeah,
So
and
we're
he,
getting a little bit ahead of ourselves
oh
though.
yeah,
Because IGN fired the guy
mhm.
immediately, and scrubbed the Dead Cells review, and have since re-reviewed the game with a different writer. Um, and I gotta say, Boomstick Gaming actually has taken it like well in stride. He hasn't been an asshole about it or anything like that. I actually respect him for that because he could have made a way bigger stink about it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Um, so yeah, Boomstick taking it in stride, being very respectful about it. And yeah, Filip Miucin makes a video in which he says that he absolutely did not plagiarize from this guy. He did not steal this guy's thoughts or writing, and that's an important thing, important distinction. Todd, is that plagiarism is not just you know. I think he even sort of falls back in the video on like, oh well, I did not take word for word from this guy. Well, plagiarism isn't just word for word
Hmm.
copying. It's like copying ideas.
Yeah.
You know, that's also plagiarism. Copying the structure of writing, that's also plagiarism. You know. Um. So yeah. So he makes this video. Never once apologizes to Boomstick Gaming. In fact, I think he just sort of like condescendingly said like, "Oh, best of luck to you," blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
yeah, that's sort of bullshit.
Yeah, just being a total just douchebag. You know what I mean? The funny thing is, he points out. So you know, Jason Schreier.
Yeah, he calls out like Kotaku and like Jason
He
Schreier and
calls out
shit.
Kotaku. He
Yeah.
calls out Jason Schreier, who is a very good journalist. Maybe maybe the only fucking real journalist working in gaming today. Um, and he challenges him. He says, look at all of my content and and find things that have been plagiarized. Give me examples of
And
things
that's
that
the
have
funny
been
thing. It's like
plagiarized.
not only is obviously he's challenging Kotaku, Jason Schreier, he basically challenged the internet, dude. Like,
Well, challenge fucking
oh,
accepted.
dude.
Because as it turns out, they so the like over the next couple of days, they found several other pieces of
Hmm.
plagiarized work. And in fact, IGN went into their own investigation and found that indeed nearly all of the content Philip Mewson produced for IGN was plagiarized work,
Hmm.
including some plagiarized work from his own coworkers at
Wow.
IGN. Um, and I mean, it's insane. It's insane to me. He wrote almost nothing original his entire time there. He's
He
there for
actually
almost a
he
year.
ended up deleting that video too.
Of course he did. Of course he did. And you know what he should have done is he should have kind of graciously came out and said like, "Hey, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Blah blah blah. I won't do it again." And and maybe at some point down the line he could have bounced back from it, but now he's ruined his career.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, it's fucking tarnished, man. And then like, honestly, I feel like he did more damage to IGN as a whole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now, and I do feel bad for IGN because I do think that I respect the way that IGN is handling this.
I think
Um,
they ended up deleting like basically all that, right? Like I
they
was.
announced today, I think, that they are scrubbing all of Mewson's content from
That's good.
IGN. Like Mewson, as far as IGN is concerned, never happened.
Yeah,
Basically,
that's the best. That's the best way to handle it, honestly.
yeah. And and they've apologized and blah blah blah, and and I think they're doing literally the best they can do.
Hmm.
But I feel bad for them because like it does tarnish their reputation a little bit, and I think a little bit unjustly. But I mean, that's the thing about journalism is it is entirely your readership is based entirely on trust. If you lose some of that trust, like you're done.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So the fact that Musin tarnished that by plagiarizing his work, almost all of his work, is crazy. And now IGN is having to double back and rewrite his reviews, which include major reviews. He did major reviews such as these switch ports of like Doom and like Wolfenstein. Um, so like that costs money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have to pay those people to re-review the games. It's a huge, it's a fiasco. It's an absolute fucking shit show. This guy has ruined his career. He has hurt probably the biggest gaming entertainment website in existence.
Some real shit.
And you know, here's another thing. I've written several reviews in my life, not professionally, obviously, but I've written several reviews in my life, and like a review is just your opinion. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like when you're hired to write a review, you're literally just being hired to give your opinion on something, and you can't even do that. You can't even articulate your own opinion. You know what I mean? Like how how much of a robot do you have to be to not even be able to how much more ill-fitted for a job could you possibly be to not even be able to articulate your own opinions on something, you know, without stealing the work of somebody else? And it's crazy. And it's like I follow a few people who work at IGN on Twitter, and one of them was just like, dude, like this is why you get hired at IGN is because you love games and you love talking about games. And if you can't even talk about games without stealing from somebody else,
you're not in the right job.
You're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. I just wanted to touch on that bit of news before we get into the main show. Todd, what have you been playing this week?
Well, before you veto, no, I'm just.
Yo, I gotta. This is a citizen's arrest, motherfucker. I gotta stop you dead in your. There will be no Monster Hunter talk, Todd. Enough.
No, I will. I actually have been playing some other games. Played a little bit of Overwatch earlier today.
Yeah, we dabbled.
We dabbled, and I did the Lord's work with Reinhardt.
We dabbled. We fooled around in Overwatch. Played a few
It's
games.
funny is like I forget like some people aren't used to like my reactions of like when I'm like doing good in the game.
Yeah, we were playing with my fiance Anastasia, and it was the reactions from her were pretty good.
Because it was just like you're like, oh, at least you're doing pretty good, Todd. I'm just like, I think it was like legit as you said that is when I actually got to play the game, and I'm just like charging in, going,
screaming and shit.
It's good times. I've also been like playing some Dark Souls and whatnot, which I gotta sit down and record some more. Probably tomorrow.
That's right. You put some videos on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
About that.
By the time this episode's up, part 5 should be up as well. It's at part 4 right now. Part 4 just went live the day of recording, which is spoilers, Wednesday.
So one thing that we both did this past week was we both platinumed God of War.
Oh yeah, that is very true. I beat you. I'm just.
It was funny because like I started, I had the goal in mind, and I may have talked about it on the last episode. I think I think on the last episode I mentioned my goal of like I wanted to platinum God of War before Spider-Man comes out next month.
Yeah.
And I basically I had a couple days off work, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna like go hard on this game right now. And I think within like 2 days, I think I put like 12 to 15 hours into the game. Like I just played the shit out of it for like 2 days. And you listening to me play it made you want to go back and play it?
It got me like really in the mood, so like I re-downloaded it, and I was like, because the trophies that I was like, because I almost platinumed it without even trying.
Yeah.
Back for my original playthrough, like I only had about like 6 trophies left, and it was like the treasure maps, Jotner shrines, artifacts, and like the fuck with the other bullshit.
The Ravens.
Ravens. There you go.
Yeah. Well, so God of War's trophy list is the kind of trophy list that I like, where it is completion based
Yeah.
and challenge based. It's not bullshit. It's not like
Play this
you
shit.
know,
Play this shit on the God of War. That would have pissed me off.
yeah, it's not like, and I don't really mind difficulty based trophies sometimes when the games have interesting difficulties, but God of War does not.
It doesn't. It definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
Like I know exactly what the difficulty is. It's just like more health. You take more damage. It's like, yeah, I don't care about
Yeah, that's
that.
the kind of difficulty based stuff that I'm not crazy about. Um, so yeah, we both platinum the game. It was a lot of fun. Like it was fun to go back to that game,
Yeah, I actually, I plan on going back to it again with when the new game Plus comes out.
Which should be, I think it's on like August 20th.
Yeah,
So
so
very
4 days
soon.
from now.
Very, very soon.
Uh, I do kind of want to talk about like revisiting Dark Souls because like I don't know if you know what happened in that part 4.
So I watched a little bit of the videos, like as they're going live.
Yeah.
Is part 4, is that the one where you were like fighting Quelaag and
Yes.
stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I was talking to Tyler about this. Is I kept every death in that one because I was gonna edit it out because it was pretty long. It was like an hour-long video.
Yeah.
The reason I kept it in is I wanted to show the world RNG in all its glory. The final attempt. I don't know if you watched the final attempt where I beat her. Is
No.
she went from doing her AOE like 6 or 7 times in a mat, like a fight, to
Yeah.
once.
Oh God.
Once. That was the attempt I actually did it. And then I actually had to fight Ceaseless Discharge because I ruined the one chance to do the cheese.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
You know the cheese where
So-
he climbs, he like jumps, he hangs on, he hit his hand, he falls.
So you had to actually fight it.
The thousands of hours I put into Dark Souls once, I've never had to fight his ass.
Wow.
Ever. It was hilarious. I was like, oh shit, what?
Not even the first time through?
Dude, hell no, I did the cheese.
Wow. Even on your first time through?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I had never had to fight his ass normally. Because that's the thing, dude, the moment, like, I've never died in that fight. So I died, like, as soon as I touched the armor. Because, you touch the gold hem, whatever the hell. And he instantly aggroes. I never died there. He instantly fucked me, and I was like, oh shit, what happens now? So most of the time, like, it added, like, just a lot of, like, time to that, like, the video is where, I'm sitting there attempting to get the cheese to work. I think I legit like brought out my phone at one point. I'm like, "Is the cheese over?" And that's like, the cheese was over, and I had to fight him normally. He's not hard. He just hits hard. Like the whole thing with him is like if you stay close, like you're fine. Because if you get too far away, he does this like energy beam attack that legitimately shreds your health. Especially at what level I'm at. He brought my health to like if I don't block it. Takes me to about less than a quarter. Okay. And I ended up I dodged it once and I don't know how I did it. It was just like a really lucky dodge. But yeah, that's it. Like it's been a lot of fun going back to that game because honestly I feel like I'm like going through that shit blind almost. Like I'm just like a completely like fresh like Dark Souls player.
Right. I'm gonna have to watch some of your videos. Go back and watch some of that shit.
You should actually go watch the part where I go at the Capra Demon. That was funny.
Yeah, I'll have to sit there and actually catch up.
Yeah.
You kind of post them in like chunks.
Yeah, I post. That's another reason I'm trying to like to people that are actually watching them. I don't know, like do it like I'm doing it every other day. Like give me a day to record, upload. Day to record, upload.
Right.
Which I actually might pick up Death's Gambit and start recording.
Is that out yet?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it came out like today.
Okay, that game looks cool.
So I might fuck with that. Maybe maybe I'll start recording like 2 games and get those uploaded.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I mean that'll be nice. You'll get a little more video content.
That's the main reason I'm doing it.
Yeah. I mean, shit. It's all always worth doing.
Keep the
Is there anything
YouTube
else you've been
channel
playing?
alive. What happened?
Anything else you've been playing?
Like looking back into like what else I'm trying to think. No, I think that's it.
I want to shout out real quick. Really, the only other thing I've been playing is I started up. I've been playing some more like Dead Cells and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Nothing like crazy, crazy. But I started up the first episode of The Walking Dead's final season.
How is it?
So it's really cool so far, but it pisses me off because here's the thing. All right, I'm gonna go into a little bit of a rant here.
Ooh.
So I'm playing it and I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I get about like I would say 20 to 30 minutes in, and I'm like, why is my trophy not popping up? You know what I mean? Like normally, I've played several Telltale games. Like normally I'd have a trophy pop by now. Because they're the Telltale trophy lists here, especially lately, have basically given you the platinum for playing through the game.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they changed it up
Essentially
finally?
they break it up into like chapters basically, and you get a trophy for each chapter. And then when you play through the whole season, you get a platinum. Well, this season of The Walking Dead is different. They added collectibles that have trophies tied to them.
Oh, that's bullshit.
And I'm like, "Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me?" Because I
So,
wasn't
like,
even I was so
did you restart?
well, so yeah, so I was so sure that like they had stuck to their traditional Telltale formula when it comes to the trophy list. I was like, I wasn't even thinking about it, and it wasn't until I'd played for like 30 minutes and never had a trophy pop. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Let me look at this
Something's
trophy
fishy,
list and see
basically.
what it is. I'm like, what's up with this bullshit? And I look at it, and yeah, I see just this huge list of like collectibles just in the first episode. So I'm like, God, I bet you I've already fucking missed one. You know what I mean? And I pull up a guide that somebody's already made, and yeah, sure enough, I had already missed one. So I have to legit restart the whole
That's
chapter.
that's bullshit. Like, why the hell would they change it up? Like for that like what? After how many fucking games? The fuck?
Yeah, that's been, and I really like that about Telltale games. Not just because it's like an easy platinum, but I like that. I like that the platinum for a Telltale game is sort of a nice bookend.
Yeah, it's like you sat there, you played through the story, platinum. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a nice bookend for the experience. You know what I mean? It's like giving you I don't know. It's like having like a check mark of like I've read this book
Yeah,
almost.
that's a
You
good way of
know,
looking at it.
like I've like it's a nice marker of like I've had this experience and I'm done with it. You know what I mean? But now, but now they've got these collectibles, so I'm gonna have to be playing these games with like a guide in front of me now if I want to get the platinum. And I
Yeah,
like
that
that.
that would annoy the hell out of me.
That's something that and first, for as annoying as the trophy list is for The Last of Us, that's something that I like about The Last of Us is they never made you like want to have like a guide in front of you because most of the trophies you just get a trophy for beating the game basically.
Yeah.
Sorry. You get trophies for there's difficulty based trophies and stuff like that, and I think there's even collectibles in The Last of Us, but for the most part, the trophies don't pop up annoyingly all the time or anything like that. And that's something that I really liked about Telltale games. I really like that I could just play them and experience them, and by the end of it, I've got a nice little platinum. You know. So I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed, Telltale, that you did that.
Yeah, shit, that would piss me off. I would love to play that game, but I'm too far gone on that series.
Well, yeah, there's like 4 seasons now.
I know,
So.
like I played like the first and second, I think. I might not have
Well, then you're
beaten
not
the
too far
second.
gone. He's got the third one to play.
Another thing is, here's the thing. I don't know if I finished the second season.
I mean, it's still not that bad. You're not that far gone.
Well,
Um,
I do. I think you told me you think the first season is the best, right?
um,
Has it
I,
changed
I
now?
like them. I like them all for different reasons. Uh, I think overall I would say the first season is the best.
I'll be dead ass. That first season had me tear up.
It's a great game. I think all three of them are really good.
Hmm.
For different reasons. But I actually really did enjoy three. Um, this one's got a good start so far.
Hmm.
Obviously, I haven't finished it yet, but it's got. I know the setup of this final season, and it's
Well,
interesting.
I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. Like maybe like next week.
So, yeah, it's a cool setup. I'll say that because basically, so like in season two, uh, Clementine kind of takes on this little baby AJ,
Yeah.
right? And they deal with AJ a little bit in season three. Well, now AJ's like a 6 or 7 year old, and Clementine's like I think she's like 15 or something like that now, or 16 or something. So she's having to watch over this like little kid. And there are interesting things because now Clementine is sort of now in the lead position from season one,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Where she's having to teach AJ things about the world. Where like, so I'll give you an example. So there's a moment where AJ has a gun and he finds some bullets, right? And Clem will. There's several moments where Clem's like, "Remember what I always taught you," and then the player has the option to interject whatever it is you want to say that you've taught AJ,
Yeah.
right? So it'll be like, remember what I always taught you, like, don't hesitate, or like always leave the last bullet for yourself, or whatever. You know what I mean? And then, to that class, AJ will remember that. you know. So, and then, like if you, for example, if you tell him, like if you have taught him to always save the last bullet for himself, he'll be a little more cautious. And I can imagine maybe later on in the season, AJ won't take a shot, maybe because he's only got one bullet left. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting season. I'm looking forward to playing through it with a guide in front of my face. But that's pretty much all I've been playing. We do have a topic this week, Todd. Uh, a non-video game related topic.
It's very rare.
Yeah, a topic that I kind of thought of while talking to a friend and a former coworker of mine who is a teacher or was a teacher, a retired school teacher. And I knew when I thought of this, I knew that you are, a lot of people might not know, you are pretty passionate about teaching and education,
Hmm.
and you're very opinionated on the matter. So I thought it'd be interesting to sort of talk about the modern school system and kind of our thoughts on it and things we would maybe change about
Okay.
it. So why don't you start us off with this? Because I know, a lot of people may not know. I don't know if you've ever touched on this in the
I
podcast for
haven't.
a long.
I mean, I can kind of like start it off with that, honestly.
Yeah, for a long time you wanted to be a
Well,
school
I mean, like I
teacher.
wouldn't say. I mean, I still do, but like at this
Right.
point, I'm like what 24 at this point. I don't know. I forget how fucking old I am. On
That
some real
sounds
shit.
right.
It's like 6 years of my fucking life because it's not even worth it unless you get a master's at this point. Um,
Is that right?
yeah, I mean, like you can unless they've changed it from the last time I looked. You can teach with a bachelor's or whatever, but they want you to
Right.
get your master's. So it's like,
So that's weird to me because I like because I remember I, I I don't know. I thought it was different than that. I thought the barrier of entry was pretty low. I mean, maybe in Chicago it's different.
I mean, like, I remember where it was like back in the day when I was like looking that shit up. They might have changed it, but like back when I was like way more passionate about it, I was like ready to like I was probably might have ended up going to college and all that.
Right.
But yeah, that's like the only thing. Like, if I ever did go to college, that's what I would go for, like education and like especially like specializing in like teaching history.
So history specifically
Oh
is
yeah,
what you're interested in.
specifically history. Like history's my bread and butter. Like I
Now, do you?
remember, because people don't know this about. Well, I've never talked about this. Is I ended up in a alternative school, which is
Right.
especially why I saw the failures of the education system like firsthand there. Like it was like the people there were the people that were like just chewed out by the education system. Like these kids reading at
Right.
like first grade levels, doing math at like first grade levels. It's sad, and it's just like
How do I reach these
yeah, that's some real
kids?
shit. Because that's funny is like, dude, a lot of that is like I ended up having to like I was teaching them like the materials. Like I was teaching them like because like some of these teachers didn't give a shit. They're
Right.
like especially with an alternative school, they didn't give a single fuck. There were I mean there were
Right.
some people like me that were there just to get their like diploma. Like they're not we weren't stupid. We were just like we were just lazy. We just get like 'cause the main reason I ended up going to alternative school is because I I call it nap time. It was my band class.
Yeah.
I had like a legitimate zero. I was gonna be like a demo sophomore. So it's funny is I ended up going to the alternative school and actually graduating early because of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that. Like I graduated early because of that.
So I graduated early too, actually.
Yeah, yeah, because I ended up basically being done with school in like January of like the year I was supposed to like graduate,
Right.
and I just chilled and then went back for like the
Yeah,
actual
I
graduation.
graduated like
But
over a year.
yeah, like seeing like I saw like the failures of the education system just like right in my face. Like it was just dude, it was some of this shit was hilarious. Like I was like good friend. I was like really cool with a lot of the teachers there because it's like they were the only people I could actually have like legitimate conversation with. And I might have told you some shit about this, like just how
Hmm.
bad some of these kids were.
Yeah.
Like this shit always like this keeps me up at night. This one is my favorite story. I'm gonna tell it. It was an English class, and there was a question
Uh,
about draw conclusions. Draw
did this
conclusions.
motherfucker literally draw?
No, no, dude.
Oh,
Have I not told you about this?
I don't think so.
Oh Lord. So draw conclusions. It was this girl. And she raises her hand and looks over at the teacher. She's like, I don't have no crayons. When I tell you that dude, my the teacher, his name is Dugan. He looked dead at me, and I was looking dead at him, and we're just like, oh, oh shit.
I don't have no crayons.
And but here's the deal: it was the same girl that later on did some shit about like talking about a rhinoceros, talking about a rhino, acting like, is it a dinosaur?
Wait, thinking a rhino was a dinosaur?
Yes.
Oh my god, how do I reach these
Dude,
keys?
it's so bad. And a lot of like a lot of like that's the thing, man. Like the education system. Well, now we can get actually into the topic. I think the education system's shit.
Now, now you said earlier that you feel like the education system has failed these kids. What do you mean by that?
Well, here's the thing. Like the whole, especially so the whole thing is like they try to put it's either the whole idea. You start from like kindergarten, whatever the fuck, but all of it is pushing these kids to go to college for one.
Right.
Pushing these kids and like the whole like middle school, elementary school. It's not about actually learning anymore, man. It's just keeping these kids fucking busy and like teaching them either to be like good workers, like basically teaching them to follow rules, all that bullshit. There's no actual learning anymore. Like I say there's no actual. There is a little bit, but it's a lot of it is more so to just learn how to take tests because the tests are actually what make the schools look better. That's all it really is
Right.
nowadays, and it's a
Right.
fucking
Right.
joke.
That's right. Yeah. I wanted to talk about that actually because one thing that I am sort of interested in is the idea of this is a pretty meaty topic, but I wanted to talk about the idea of like curriculum and what
Mhm.
you would change about curriculum in particular.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I would completely get rid of standardized tests. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
dude,
So would I.
like fuck
Yeah.
all that. Like, and also I would put a stop to actually pushing people to go to college, like in like high schools and like middle schools.
I definitely remember that.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I definitely
it's
in my
so
brief stint in high
heavily
school.
pushed. Even when I was in the alternative school, like, there was just like, dude, you couldn't even graduate unless you applied for some shit.
Right.
Like I applied for like I think I applied for like a trade school or some shit, but I didn't do that.
Yeah. Well, like I definitely remember that. In my brief stint in the public school system, I do remember a lot of talk of like, oh, this is going to get you ready for college. This
Yeah,
is blah,
that's
blah,
all
blah.
it is. It's preparing people for college. And here's the thing: not everybody is like suited for college.
Yeah, college is not the right fit for everybody.
No, not at all. Like,
You know?
I mean, there's people that are more suited to just go right into the workforce. There's people that are like suited to go to a trade school, learn a trade.
That's the thing too, is that's lost on a lot of people these days. Is a lot of people, the concept of of going to a trade school
Well,
and
there's
learning a
people that
trade.
look down on that. Like, fuck you, that's good money.
Yeah.
Like, shit, I almost did it.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
thinking about doing it now because I'm unemployed. Like, what?
well, yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, the idea of like learning a trade and having and being a tradesman is,
Yeah.
that's lost on a lot of people. It's not, you don't necessarily have to go to college.
I mean, and there's
Um,
also just nothing wrong with like going and getting a shit job and moving up. Like,
Yeah.
a manager at my old, like a full manager at my old job, like one of the first salary jobs is like almost like 50K a year.
Right.
Like 45, some shit like that. That's not bad money.
Right. So I want to talk, I want to talk a little bit quickly. Like, we just you sort of touched on it a little bit. You want to get rid of standardized tests, which I do agree with, and you want to get rid of this ideology of like you're just sort of working your way up the ladder of education without
Yeah,
really
it's
learning much.
especially in America, it's like set up as a fucking ladder. Go to the first to the
Yeah.
12.
Right. So, I mean, like, what about it would you change? Would you get rid of the grade system, like the first, second, third grade?
I mean, I think there needs to be a level of like keeping certain age groups like together and
Right.
apart and separated, because at that point you can actually focus in on more like difficult like curriculum, you know.
Right. But
I don't think the
are there
grade
any
system
things?
is like a problem. I just think like mainly like the curriculum is the issue, and like the force, the push of like standardized tests. And
So,
like,
what things are being taught in schools today that you would change or get rid of? Like, what would you take away? What would you add?
well, shit, I'd put a stop to them trying to like get rid of some of these books. You know, but
Yeah.
like, what I don't think people are reading like, what are they? They're not reading what's the it's a famous book. It's like not popping in my head right now. It's the lawyer.
Well, what is it?
What's the lawyer? The black guy. Kill Mockingbird.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah,
Kill
there you go.
Mockingbird. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they read that shit no more. I'm like, why not? It's a good book.
There's probably, I'm sure they don't read Huck Finn anymore because it's racist. You know, there's probably some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reading when I was in school was incentivized. You
Yeah.
know, and
Well, shit.
and I
Back
loved
when I was in
reading.
school, that's when I read the most because it was just like that was an easy way to like just keep
Yeah,
to myself and
yeah, I
just
loved reading
yeah,
when I
yeah,
was in
without a
school.
doubt. Like it's actually that love of reading that we have that dead series.
I still do love to read. It's just now that I'm an adult, there's no time. You know. Um, So what I'm talking about specifically though, one thing that's always irked me about school is that they're so focused on teaching you like algebra and long division and fucking trigonometry and shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Here's the deal. That shit is only good if you're gonna go into like actual like mathematics as like a career.
Well, and here's the thing: should there be career-based options? Should there be should advanced mathematics like that be an elective?
I I kind of agree with that.
I sort of think that it should. I sort of think that basic. Now look, you should know how to add and subtract and
Yeah, I think.
divide
I
and
mean, like
multiply.
algebra, like maybe, like only go up to like algebra, but like,
But when you're starting to, let me, in other words, when shapes are getting involved, I
Dude, I'll
sort of
be
feel like
honest. Like I barely remember like all that shit. Like I've never used that
no.
in my life because it was just like that's not what I'm about. Like the fuck.
Right. And to that end, one thing that's always irked me about school is that these kids are getting out into the real world and going to college and stuff like that. And they have no idea what the fuck they're doing like just in the real world.
That's actually something that you basically brought up. I think you're getting to the point where like, why the hell doesn't school teach you how to like balance a fucking checkbook type of bullshit?
To balance a checkbook or like make a budget for
Yeah,
yourself.
like actually how to
Or
live your fucking life. Like,
and the argument is like, oh well, like your parents should teach you some of that stuff or
well, some
whatever.
people
And I'm
don't
like,
actually have the best relationship with their parents.
some of them don't. I mean, you can't. Here's the thing, like there are plenty of times like I'm not trying to like embarrass him or anything like that, but I like the first time I hung out with our mutual friend Dan, like he didn't know how to change a tire. You know what I mean? He like there's a lot of stuff that he didn't know just about the real world.
See,
You know what I mean?
I won't deny that. Like, I don't drive, so I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, well, like my dad taught me a lot of stuff, and I was fortunate to have that kind of relationship with my dad, but not
Yeah,
everybody does. So like, why can't you have a class on the basics?
yeah.
You know what I
Like
mean?
that
Just the
that would be
basics.
like life 101 type of shit.
Just yeah, just have a section where it's like, okay, today we're gonna learn how to change a tire. You know, and that's one of those things where
It'd
you
be
do
more
it once and you
beneficial to
never
so many
forget
of
it.
those kids' life than like whatever like fucking trigonometry.
Right. And again, that's one of those things. You do it once and you never forget how to do it.
Yeah.
You never forget how to change a tire. You never forget how to jump off your car or or even moving away from like car related stuff, like how to make a grocery list.
Yeah.
How to yeah, like you said earlier, balance a checkbook, make a budget for
Hmm.
yourself, how to open and manage a bank account. That stuff is way more useful than learning about shapes in a math class.
Some real shit.
And yeah, still have that stuff available in the curriculum, but like make it elective for the kids who are interested in going into that field. And to that end, I wonder, I'm sorry for how congested I sound. It's starting to get really bad. To that end, I wonder if I wonder if there should be some sort of like thing where uh if the stop putting it in the kids' head to go to college and start having them think about what they actually want to do
Ex-
with their life
exactly. That's like
and
the
and
whole.
facilitate
Well, the
that.
whole
Say
thing is
like,
like the whole bullshit is like, oh, go to college, you'll figure out who you are. I'm like, what? After I spent like 100,000? What, bitch?
right. Well, like think about it, man. Like put electives in place. So for me, for example, I've always been very passionate. I love history, I love English, and I've always been very passionate about writing. When I was a kid, I loved writing and I
Yeah.
never had an outlet for it.
Mhm.
I never had a creative writing outlet or even a journalist outlet. Now, I had a very good English teacher who, there's like maybe a couple weeks where we like, did some mock. I think we had like little teams in our class that did like mock newspaper
Okay.
headlines and stuff like that. But why can't you be like, okay, for kids who are interested in going into a writing based field, have a journalism elective or a creative writing elective class? You know what I mean? Um, Even if it's like so like I know that there are teachers who are passionate. I
Oh,
would say that
they
most
they
teachers.
still exist. A lot of like, I mean, some of them have like just kind of like fallen off, but there are still those that are very very passionate.
I
Even
think
in
that
the,
most teachers are passionate in at least some
well,
way
here's the thing:
because
you have to be
they're
at this point. Like if you're a teacher nowadays, you had to be, you have to have some sort of passion for it because you ain't getting paid for it.
well, yeah, you're not in it for the money, and that's another thing I want to talk about. Do you think that I feel like you would get better quality of teaching if you just fucking
Well,
paid the
where's the
teachers
thing? Like
more?
nobody actually gives a fuck about education anymore. Like that's the first thing
Yeah.
that gets cut.
Hmm.
That's one of the first things that gets cut. Like nobody gives a shit about the future of kids, like these kids anymore. It's fucking bullshit.
Well, and it's crazy because and I know that people, I feel like I'm like my dad right now talking about, but these are the people, these are the leaders of the future.
Yeah,
These are
no, but that's It's, people say that shit all the time, but it's true. It's very true. I'm gonna be real. This topic's actually pissing me off. Actually,
I'm not trying to piss you off, but I do think it's an interesting discussion because I'm like, I think that there are a lot of things that could be done differently, and all of this stuff would cost a lot of money, obviously. But I really do think if we're gonna dump our money into anything, it should be the education system in this country. It's crazy.
Can I talk about something?
What?
This is completely off topic, but did you see the Mike Pence talking about the Space Force?
Yes.
With the Halo shit.
Oh yeah, that video where they cut the Halo.
Let me tell you this shit right now. That shit had me, dude. I was dying.
It was good. It was good. I'll give him that. Now I do think, I guess for a brief Space Force related tangent, I do like that. I've always thought that we need to be exploring space.
Can I say something though? The whole thing with the Halo shit, it made me want. I was like, I'm down for this. People put that music on as a joke, but I was like, this is good shit.
Well, the space, we do need to be looking to space because this planet is fucked, dude.
It's real shit.
It's fucked. In the next 100 200 years.
Here's the thing. Everything that the Trump administration will do is going to be seen as a joke no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if the way you're looking at it, you're looking at it oh yeah, go to space, that's good shit.
But I do think that to Trump's credit, I'm not a Trump fan or a Trump supporter.
Neither am I.
Not at all. And I didn't vote for him. But if there's something that I can say, he's done some good things. He's done a lot of really dumb, stupid things, and I don't like him. But he has done some good things.
Can't say that. You can't say that he's done good things.
I don't give a shit. But I do think he's done some good. It's a pebble in the water, but I do think the Space Force is a good idea. I do think we need to be exploring space, but I do think that at the same time, if you told me, hey, dump all this money into space exploration or dump all this money into the education system, I would pick the education system.
Same. Definitely. I definitely agree with that.
So I do think that things that are important to teach the kids, we talked about the concept of maybe electives and sort of kind of pushing the kids to
that's my thing. If in the grand scheme of things, it would be interesting if everything was elective. The kids learn what they want, sort of thing.
I do feel like
there needs to be a blanket over some things. Obviously learn your basic addition and division, multiplication, all that.
Right.
But after a certain point, just kind of branch out to what you're interested in.
Well, yeah. Well, so my thinking is, I think there does need to be a standard of you're gonna have to attend your math, your English, your science, and your history and all that shit. You're gonna attend all those at a base level at least.
Yeah.
And from that point on, maybe there are advanced elective. It could literally be say you have an 8-hour day of school. 4 hours of curriculum are for the basics, and then 4 hours are elective hours of do I want to stay and soak up some more of this teaching? Do I want to? And literally, it could be credits. It could be a credit-based system they have in college.
Yeah.
I have so many history hours.
If you're interested in cooking, just have a cooking class. Have an early level culinary sort of shit going on.
Yeah, my school didn't even have any real. The only electives my school had growing up was language stuff. So I had a Spanish.
That's usually what it is, isn't it? That's usually what it is. It's Spanish or French or some bullshit.
Spanish and French and stuff like that. I didn't have anything interesting. You know what I mean? And that's stuff that a kid can come out and put. You could even call them college credits, and you could put them on a resume. You know what I mean? And I think the big problem is that stuff costs money that the government doesn't want to spend on the education system, and it's a damn shame because I think school could be an enjoyable experience and should be an enjoyable experience. And these kids should learn about things that they want to learn about.
Yeah,
there should be some stuff that
like I said, there should be a blanket over some of it, obviously, but for the most part, I I would just love for like the middle school and like high school level stuff to actually be about learning, actually like
Right.
advancing your knowledge, but it's not.
Right.
It's it's fucking not. It's about learning how to take fucking tests.
And you know the argument that somebody listening to this might say is like, well, isn't that what college is for, to advance your learning or
But
whatever? I'm like, well,
that's the only argument you fucking have. But here's my issue with that: is why the hell should we be waiting to advance someone's knowledge in college when it costs
right.
$100,000?
Well, yeah, when it costs so much extra money, and when it's not a guarantee for a lot of folks, and also, why are you going to waste 12 years of these kids' lives?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you start very young,
And
and
here's my
you're gonna
with the way we're talking, that might push people to go to college more. Like to actually, I want to advance my knowledge in this. Like,
yeah. Oh, I'd love to go to college, but here's the thing: is it's not feasible for me.
well,
As it's not feasible for even me, as a my location does not have things that I'm interested in
yeah,
college,
yeah.
and B, like tuition is ridiculous.
Oh, especially like because I kind of know what you probably go for like some like sort of like journalism, creative writing sort of thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, like so I just there's not a lot to offer, and it's that aspect of it frustrates me.
no, of course. Like,
Um, I do want to take a little bit of a left turn in the conversation and
okay.
talk about some things. I don't want to super get into Common Core. We can touch on it,
Here's the thing. I'll tell you
but
honestly. Like, I know I've heard of Common Core. I have not seen it, but I know it's dumb.
it is. Well, I've actually seen it.
Oh Lord.
Um, I've seen Common Core math specifically, and that's why that Incredibles joke is so funny from Incredibles 2. Math is math.
No,
You
that's
can't
like no,
change
that's
math.
I get that's like I was laughing my ass off at that because I know the whole deal with like Common Core, but like I've never actually seen it myself.
It's ridiculous, dude. Like I was helping my nephew do like some math homework one time. He comes up and he's like, Bubba, can you help me with this or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I solved the problem or whatever. And he's like, well, that's not how you do it.
So,
First you draw a box
so what do you
in the
mean
right.
that's not how you do
Yeah. First you draw a box in the right, and that's where you put your fucking. I'm just like, what? Like, what are you teaching these kids?
Dude, it's like from what I understand, it is technically like it. What it's supposed to do is it shows how it's technically done in your head or some bullshit.
Well, in the concept behind Common Core is that like, because a lot of kids get moved from school to school,
Yeah.
and the idea is that no matter what school you go to, the thing that you're learning is the same,
Ugh.
and that logic is sound, but I feel like that's such a niche thing. Like, I don't feel like that's worth just like totally dismantling the structure of like learning because I learned math the way that like
The way
the
God
way I
intended.
learn. Well, that's how the way I learn makes sense to me.
No, dude,
And
like that's my thing. Like the way I've learned math is the same way you learn math. Like honestly, I'm so happy I got out of school before that shit came in.
yeah, so for example, like the way I learned addition, like it's the whole like carry the one or
Yeah,
whatever.
anything that was extra, just add it, and then yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
carry it over, right? That whole system that works really well for me. And like it's funny because I'll be at work counting cigarettes, and I do all the addition at the end of it in my head for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's funny because sometimes like a coworker will watch me, like, how are you doing that? I'm just like, this is the way I learned, you know. And but I don't want to drag anybody, but I I don't want to talk about Common Core too much. One thing that I do want to talk about a little bit though, sort of as we're wrapping up the discussion, is I want to talk about our feelings on uniform policy in school.
Um, I mean, I've been in both. I've had both things. So like in middle school I had a uniform. High school I didn't. The only thing I had in high school was like obviously there's like a dress code, like
Right,
like you're not gonna sit there with your ass hanging out type of shit.
right,
Uh, but and then when I went to the alternative school I had a uniform as well.
right.
Personally, I don't give a shit. Like, whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck what I wear. Uh, I mean, I know there's like a lot of people that use that to express themselves, like which is fine. But like for me personally, like it never bothered me if I like was wearing a uniform or not wearing a uniform. Because honestly, I look like a fucking bum in my life with like freshman and sophomore year of high school. Like I would just wear the same shit. I don't care.
Well, so, and this is something I wanted to talk about a little bit because I wore a uniform all throughout public school,
Yeah.
the whole time, and it should be said that through most of my high school career, I was homeschooled, which is something that I want to talk about next is homeschooling.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Um,
an interesting topic.
so, and, and I'll just kind of briefly touch on it after we're done talking about uniforms, but
Yeah.
I um, I feel like, as somebody who wore school uniforms, like there's always that sort of stigma. The idea behind uniforms is sound, right? The logic behind them is, well, we don't want to have kids who are less fortunate coming to school, and getting made fun of by kids who are, rich or whatever. But when you're leaving when you're leaving the choice of uniform in the hands of the parents, that's happening anyway. I don't know about you, but when I was in school, like I wore fucking Walmart uniforms. You know what I mean?
That's some
I
real
like
shit, dude. I don't even know what the fuck I used to wear. Like the shit with like, especially like with was it Jane Addams? Like my alternative school. Oh, I've said the name. Oh shit.
they know where you are now.
Oh
I'm just
no. But
kidding.
it's like, dude, like I had like a sweatshirt, like a black sweatshirt with like the name on it and shit. And then like shit, I could wear shorts. I was wearing like black cargos. So
My school uniform was khaki pants,
it's usually what
and
it is. It's
yeah,
honestly what they like to go for is like the khaki, the navy
yeah,
blue.
yeah. It was khaki pants, and it was either a white, blue, or green shirt,
It sounds about right.
collared shirt. Now, here's the problem. So, like I said, I wore Walmart brand shit, whatever. But like, there were kids who were like, the wiggle room was great within that because there are kids who are wearing like, oh, it's like a white collared shirt, but it's from American Eagle or Aeropostale or something like that. You know what I
Spending that
mean?
much money on like some fucking uniform.
Well, they come from like more fortunate families. You know what I mean? So like I grew up in a pretty like middle lower class family who couldn't afford to like blow that much money on
Preach it.
fucking school uniforms.
Preach it.
So like, and kids would still make fun of people
Of
who are
course,
not
dude.
wearing,
Of course.
kids would still make fun of like kids who are not wearing the nice, shirts or whatever. And it's just like,
See,
and
that's
they'd go,
why honestly it might be even better like if uniforms are still a thing, like basically like to have the school themselves supply it.
that's exactly my thinking.
Yeah.
I think you should, and here's the thing is that's just more money going into the school.
Yep.
Why not have a standardized uniform that has to be provided by the school
Yep.
that you paid the school for?
Yeah, that's basically how my alternative school did it. Like you paid
Right.
for like the sweatshirt and like I think it was like there was like a polo or a sweatshirt. Like I basically went for the sweatshirt option.
Right.
But like it's basically like just make sure like they give you the shirt. It's just black pants. That's all it was. Like black pants, black shorts. It's
Right.
like something simple.
So, yeah, I mean, you pay the school at the beginning of the year or whatever for your uniform set and have a set of uniforms that are standardized by the school,
Yeah.
you know? Cut all that shit out.
I know. I agree with it like wholeheartedly. Like that's
Now, there are some dumb things, especially like in high school. I remember my high school had a strict facial hair policy.
what like shave it or what?
Yeah, like you could not have any facial hair whatsoever.
Why?
Nothing. Not a scrap of hair on your body. Um,
I don't
in
know.
fact, I remember vividly. I had a math teacher. I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but he was a big, like, imposing kind of guy.
Hmm.
Like he actually, I always thought that he actually kind of looked like Mr. Incredible because he was like blonde and he had that kind of strong face. And he had kind of blonde, slick back hair, strong face, very big, burly man. And he, it's funny because I think now he's actually the principal of the high school. He comes into Circle K every now and then, and like gets coffee. But I have a vivid memory of him like going around his class. He used to teach math, and it was the last class of the day for me anyway. And he would go around class and just and inspect like the chins of all of the guys to like make sure that nobody had any facial hair. And I remember him even doing the shit where he like kind of grabs like the little single hair and like plucks it out.
That's
You know,
hilarious.
they were
That shit
very
wouldn't
strict
fly
about
nowadays.
that. What's that?
That shit wouldn't fly nowadays.
No, no, no. I mean, you're talking about this is like fucking 15 years ago or something like that. But no, like it just yeah. We had some pretty strict dress code policy, and you had to have a belt. If you did not have a belt, you had to go to the principal's office, and they would give you like a piece of string
Oh
to
lord.
like tie around you.
See, you got to deal with some bullshit apparently.
Yeah, you had to have some sort of belt or something like that.
Wow.
There was no like sagging, that was not a thing. And I could get into maybe for another time I could get into we can talk about like some school related stories.
Oh yeah.
I've got a shit ton of
Oh,
school
I
related.
definitely got a good amount of shit.
But I was, and maybe this will be a unique perspective on schooling. I was homeschooled through almost my entire high school, I guess, career.
Mm.
I was homeschooled, and it's interesting. I kind of wanted to get your take on homeschooling.
I
Uh,
actually, I think I mean, like, I'm gonna be real. Like, there's a lot of like homeschool kids that I've met that are weird. Uh,
well, I think the social interaction of public school is important.
well, yeah, I think that's why a lot of times nowadays, like, I think there's like with homeschool kids, like there's like a get together sort of thing going on, like with homeschool now.
Some homeschool kids do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they like there's like a group, like basically they just group up the homes like a bunch of kids that are like homeschooled and like they meet up and shit, get a little
I'll
social
say
interaction.
this: homeschooling for me at that time in my life was exactly what I needed
Yeah.
because, like, I just was not, to put it quite frankly, and I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. I was just too smart
Oh, dude,
for the school.
preach, preach.
You know what I mean? Like I was not applying myself because I didn't see the point.
No, dude,
You know?
that speaks directly to my soul. Like I think I've told you the story of like my biology class, like multiple times,
Yeah.
where it's just
Like,
like,
well, there would be like, for example, projects, like big like projects. Like I'll never forget. I had I think it was either a science or history project where it was like half of your fucking grade,
yeah,
and you had to put together a whole presentation and like present it in front of the class with like card stock, like one of those
hmm
display things and everything, and you had to like it had to be about like an original like thought, you know.
hmm
And this is like I just didn't care. I was like, why do I want to do like why is this so important? You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I honestly feel that. Like there was these tests at the alternative school that they would make us do. They basically would like to see the improvement of like every
Right.
student. They were like these tests that would like put you at a grade level. It was hilarious. I thought it was like completely stupid.
It's
Uh,
it's dumb.
do you want? Because you know what it told me?
What?
It's like 13, 12 plus type of shit. Like you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I always got that whenever I do like writing or reading tests or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I would test way above,
Well, that's
you
like I
know.
always say this like with like the ACTs and shit like that. Like, dude, like there's people that are like in like high school, like dude, without even trying, I got a better score than like people that like would put their heart and soul, and I felt so bad for them
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I didn't even give a shit. I got like a 24, like I didn't even giving a shit.
Right. Yeah, and and just to get back to homeschooling for a second, like for me it was like perfect because I was just like I said, just kind of done with public school and the public school system, and I just hated it.
Yeah.
And I was definitely the subject of bullying and stuff like
Oh
that in a
shit,
big
preach it,
bad
man.
way. And it was what I needed, but I do think that it is important to get that social interaction of public school at least early on in your life. Um, So I'm sort of like, I feel like if you want to be homeschooled, fine. Homeschooling's great. It worked for me. I loved it. But you should also, you know, for the first few years, public school, get that social interaction.
I feel
And then
that.
if you want to
I
homeschool
definitely
from
agree with
there,
that.
if you want to homeschool from there, great, go right ahead. Now, I don't think that should ever be made mandatory
Oh
or
no,
anything like
of course
that.
not.
If you want to homeschool your kids from the get-go, go right the fuck ahead. But I think as a parent, that's kind of like Anastasia and I have talked about this. Like when we have kids, like how do we want to approach their education?
Hmm. Are you
You
thinking about
know,
like would you homeschool?
probably. I mean, maybe. But the thing about it is, if I were to homeschool, I would treat it like it was a job. You know,
Yeah,
like I would take it very
very
seriously. Like my
seriously. Like
mom,
that would be your job. Like
right? Well, my mom, when she homeschooled us, like it wasn't as if I think people have this idea of homeschooling of like, oh, you sleep in every day
oh
and you're
no,
in your
like you
pajamas the whole time and
no
blah
no
blah
not at all.
blah.
Like most of the time, like I've seen like people that are like, well, your biological father and like his current wife. They I don't know if they
Yeah,
still do it, but they homeschooled their kids, and they have like they had always every time I was over there at their house, they would have like basically a classroom.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was up at 5 every morning, 5, 6 o'clock every morning. We were up, we were eating breakfast, we were exercising, and we were going to school. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it was still very much school. Um, and now it's even easier. A lot of the stuff is online if
Yeah.
you want to do it that way, which is what my mom does now with my siblings. But homeschooling, I think homeschooling's great for certain kids. I think it's a case by case basis.
Mm.
But my mom was unhappy with the education system here, and she still is, and that's why my siblings are still being homeschooled.
So
But
they've basically been homeschooled from the get go.
so yeah, they went to public school for a while.
For okay.
Um, they went to public school for a while, but it's all the bullshit, it's all the bullying, and it's all the
Oh,
stuff
dude,
that comes with the public school system.
I dealt with it. Yeah, I definitely dealt with a lot of that bullshit.
Well, I mean, just and that's the thing too is like there's always going to be bad people. There's always going to be bullies. You're
Mm-hmm.
never going to get rid of that.
Oh, never. You're never gonna get rid
I
of
don't care how sterile and clean or whatever you want to do to uniforms or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be bullying, right? There's nothing you can do about that. So, homeschooling might be a good option. And for me, I personally really enjoyed the big thing about homeschooling for me was the ability to work at my own pace.
it. No, yeah, because I remember you used to tell me about the times like where like some game was gonna come out. You're like you would basically do a week's worth of work.
Yeah, so like when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, for example, yeah, I would just do a week's worth of work in advance and just take a week off school
Yeah.
and just play Kingdom Hearts for a week nonstop. That's just what I would do. When a new WoW expansion would come out, okay, I'm gonna do a couple days of schoolwork and just, I loved it. I love being able to do that. And as I said, I ended up graduating, significantly early because of it.
Mm.
And I was able to get that done, and it was actually kind of nice because I never actually got my high school diploma, like physical diploma,
Mm.
So one of the things my parents gave me for Christmas last year is they actually got an official diploma made
Oh,
for me,
nice, awesome.
which was nice. So I actually now have my diploma physically, which meant a lot to me. It was very nice. Anyway, this is a meaty topic, Todd. We could probably sit here for hours going into this, but I think that might be a good spot to wrap it up.
Agreed.
So, was there anything else you wanted to add?
I think that's about it. I mean, I honestly, like you said, we can honestly be sitting here talking about this for like probably like another hour. But
Yeah, and I mean, maybe this is something we'll touch on again in the future. Like I said, I liked talking about this with you because I know that this is something that you're very passionate about, and I think that's evident in the content here. I think it's
you got me pissy. No.
I think it's clear that this is an important topic. So I mean, maybe it's something we'll touch on later. One thing I do want to touch on later for sure is like school
Oh
stories.
yeah, I think that'd be a fun topic.
I'm gonna add that to the vault immediately after we stop recording. But yeah, I guess that's where we're gonna call it for this discussion. So thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.